Welcome, friends, to Reality Test. What is reality testing, you may ask? Well, it's something we all do when we check our subjective or personal emotions, thoughts, and so forth against objective or fact-based reality. So here in Reality Test, we're going to be testing the castmate realities and the producer antics of our favorite reality TV shows against what we know as licensed psychologists about the reality off of our TVs. We hope you'll join us as we attempt to reality test. That's it. Thanks, y'all. Now check out our campy theme song.
Are you feeling stressed? Your head's all messed? Well, let's forget all the rest. Fuck it, we're blessed. Cause it's time to talk reality test. Come with us. Let's reality test.
Welcome to Reality Test. I'm Dr. Ray.
And I'm Dr. Kay. Feel free to check in and take a seat wherever you like, because we're doing the award show tonight. Yes, you know what? We're going to a theater with plush velvet seats. That was what we do when we do awards. Yes.
Yes.
Come down the red carpet.
Yes, exactly. Wear our best gowns, be our best selves.
Exactly. Stop and repeat. And then now we're in the theater because first we're going to do two things. We're going to do reality check and we're going to do check-ins. And first is reality check, where reality check is that we both bring in a study of interest. And that study might be of interest because of the reality TV shows we're watching, or it could be because of our personal interest, but it's something of interest. That's all that matters. That's the threshold. So, dear Dr. Ray, what is your reality check today?
My reality check is self-promotion alert, a study I did in 2020 on biphobia in media representation. This study we first had a pilot study where we had 4 music videos. This study started in 2018. So it was a Demi Lovato song that now I'm forgetting. There was a Rihanna song called Te Amo that showed some bisexual action or bisexual behavior. And then Janelle Monáe's Make Me Feel. Yes. Which is like my favorite song. Yay. And then Katy Perry's I Kissed a Girl. Our pilot study found that Janelle Monáe's Make Me Feel was the best bisexual representation, and that Katy Perry's I Kissed a Girl was the worst. Shocking.
Yeah.
What we found is that actually for most people, any sort of media representation, whether good or bad, reduced identity uncertainty. And so made bisexual individuals more sure of their identity. But positive bisexual media representation, for those with higher identity uncertainty to start, reduced identity uncertainty to a greater amount. Okay. So to tie that to the Real Housewives, Kyle Richards finally being more open about her sexual fluidity and not being so so kind of on the fence about it, and naming that she is attracted to multiple genders. And that is something that is true for her, and giving more context to the reason why she was not open, which is an understandable reason, I think was huge. And I'm so happy that she did that. I know it was not easy for her. You can feel her discomfort as she's talking about it. And I just want to give her so much credit, because she's undoing her own internalized biphobia by talking about this. So much credit to Kyle Richards. You're doing great work. Keep up the good work.
You're helping with identity uncertainty for bi folks all over the place. Good for you. And thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
I wonder how much of it also was her mom's stuff. I'm just thinking about how she probably had internalized her mom's views towards bisexuality too. And so then, sort of undoing that also means undoing a part of her connection with her mom, which would also make it scarier.
Absolutely.
Her mom died, right? Am I making that up? No, that's true.
Yes, because she did a show on her mom, and her oldest sister was mad that she gave family secrets or something like that.
That's right. Yes, that's right. Okay, good. Yeah, so I feel like that's probably relevant too. Oh, great study. Thank you for sharing it with us, and thank you for doing it for the world, that study that you did.
That was my first study, my first author. It was really hard. It took me so much work and so much time. I remember my mentor being like, this will get easier, because it took me years, and it has gotten easier, but that was a well fought study for me to complete.
I love that. Fought it out to make it happen. I love that. And you're right, it does get easier, including knowing how to like delegate too. Like once you have people that work with you, that helps.
Exactly. Because first I was like, I have to do everything. I'm first author. And then over time I was like, you can actually ask for help and that's going to make your life a lot better. And it has.
Good. And it's still great for the students too, to get to do work with you, even if they're, the students to whom you are delegating are also benefiting immensely. So that's great.
Well, they're working harder than me now. My goodness.
Yeah,
I love that we have a work study program because we have students who are like kicking ass. It's incredible. They just like get shit done. And it's just wonderful to be a part of their journey.
Yeah, I love it. Oh, that's great. Thank you for sharing, and in multiple ways. That's great. Happy for you. Happy for us. Happy for us to learn from it. I knew when you started saying the music videos that Janelle Monáe was one. I forget why I knew that because I think you actually had just straight up told me that before, but I was excited for you to get to that one because I'm excited about that. I like Janelle Monáe a lot.
I was re-listening to it recently and it is such a good album. I think it's called Make Me Feel, maybe, or
That would make
Pink or
sense.
something. There's just so many.
I really like Pink a lot, by the way. I like that song so much.
So good, so gay, obsessed. Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah. No, both of those would make sense as the name of the album. I actually don't even know album names anymore, really, just because I just listen to the songs on my Spotify.
Spotify, indeed. Indubitably.
My study was about trauma. So this is relevant to really all of our folks with whom we spend our time when watching reality TV, because I do think vast majority of them, frankly, have trauma. I also tend to think we all have trauma of some sort. So there's that. But this is specifically about people who develop PTSD. So we can have trauma and not develop PTSD for any number of reasons, particularly when it's related to sexual abuse. That was almost like impossible. Like, you know what I mean? Like sexual abuse pretty much always does relate to, lead to PTSD just because there's so many confounding factors. But going through like a physical trauma, like for those in combat or something like that, they can more easily not develop PTSD in response to the trauma. So this is specific to when you do develop PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. And one of the things that was found by the National Center for PTSD, which is through the VA. So they do tend to work more so with veterans, but it's not just that. They found that there's an impact of trauma and PTSD, in this case, just PTSD for the study I'm going to talk about, on accelerated aging. So this idea that you can age faster, and then also, unfortunately, it's also associated with earlier mortality. So dying younger and earlier in the case that you have PTSD. And so one of the other things that there are biomarkers of senescence. Senescence means just natural aging. So that's what that word means. The biomarkers include reduced telomere length and pro-inflammatory markers. One of the things we know about inflammation in the body of any kind, inflammation of the brain or anywhere else in your body, is that it's also associated with higher rates of depression, higher rates of relational strain, higher rates of isolation, and higher rates of general stress. So it's not surprising that that would also mean you're more likely to age faster, and that there was an increased medical comorbidity among folks with PTSD that's also been known to be associated with normal aging. So other types of medical ailments were more comorbid when folks had PTSD. So I just say all these things to say folks like Kyle or others, really basically I could name most of the people on reality TV shows, that they, I hope, are seeking therapy for their PTSD, because ultimately one of the things that they're also pressured to do is to stay young and look young and all those kinds of things. And indeed, if at minimum we know that PTSD leads to accelerated aging, then that should be enough reason and impetus for them to go get some therapy for their PTSD and reduce that PTSD in their lives.
Indeed. Yes. It's for a culture that reinforces looks for women. Yes, I do very much agree that if that's the motivator to get people into therapy, then let's do it.
Exactly. Exactly. You're pushing, you're getting all of that plastic surgery, which is totally fine too. I know that that's something you're pressured to do. So another version of that would be to just go get actual talk therapy. Go get therapy for your PTSD.
Absolutely. Indeed. Yes. Indubitably.
So how are you doing today? Tell me what's on your heart and mind today, dear Dr. Ray.
I am so glad that this semester is over. I am pumped. I taught a good amount this semester, and I am ready for a little break. I'm actually headed to the Cape this weekend, and we're going to go to P-Town tomorrow, and I'm so excited for that. So, yeah, just excited to kind of like relax into a break mode, because this time of year, it always feels like it's like you get to the top of the roller coaster and the stress is high, and you just want to have a little fun. So I'm looking forward to that.
Well put. Yeah. The stress is very high, and we are finally there. Good. I love that. I'll agree with that. I'll also add that I don't think I said on here that I finally, if I did now, I'm going to be like, oh my God, but it's actually going to say a lot about my own stress. But that I finally submitted my book that I had to write a manuscript for. Yes, I'm so excited. The one I keep talking about being asked to write, that I did finally finish a whole ass manuscript of it and submitted it. And I felt great about that. And they told me it takes 6 to 8 weeks to get it back as the next round. And I was like, okay, that's not even that long. I thought it would be like months. So I can handle a month and a half to 2 months. Yeah. So then I'll get back some feedback, and then we'll do some revisions, and then we're going to get that bad boy published. And I'm excited about it.
That's amazing. I am so happy for you, and I cannot wait for this book to be in the world.
Me too. It's going to be very good. And it is, since we're talking about our own research, I'll share that it's about, and also relevant to what we've just talked about because it's about trauma, is that it is about using creativity, artistic creativity in psychotherapy with individuals who have had sexual violence trauma, so that it's really for psychotherapists. But that said, clients could definitely read it too, like individuals who are either interested in creativity or are interested in understanding their own sexual violence trauma could definitely get something out of it too. I have an entire pages at one point of like lists, like in a bullet point format of types of ways of integrating it into psychotherapy. So I make it very like simple and clear, and in the ways that, at least in individual psychotherapy, ways to do that. So I think it could be very useful, utilitarian for folks as well as personal too. Like we talk about, all three of us co-authors talk about, I'm the first author, I will say that, but the three of us co-authors talk about like our own personal connection to the topic and things like that too. So we do use very like first person voice, and it's much more relatable in that way than like a textbook might otherwise seem to be. But it is technically a textbook for clinical psychologists. So
the first person will be very helpful in keeping it from getting too dry, which many textbooks do.
Exactly. I first wrote the chapter on the Pennebaker studies because you know how artistic writing or expressive writing, obviously, that's like the first like body of work that really was about this topic area from starting in the 70s, actually. So I wrote the chapter on that the first time I wrote it. I was like, doing it the way we would write those things. So it's not first person, and it was extremely dry. It was very much like a lit review. And then when we got reviewers' feedback from the first draft of like the, or like practice sample books or whatever, sample chapters, that was one of the sample chapters, they were sort of like, this sounds like a lit review. I was like, that is what it is. Actually, you're right. Very good point. So then I was like, right, I need to rewrite this. And I had kind of fun, like peppering it more with active voice. And then I had this part where I was like, when I first wrote this chapter, it was just a list of summarizing articles. Like, here's how I'm going to now tell you those things in 6 bullet points. And then like listed them in bullet points instead.
I love it. And make it more conversational.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I can bring them into my process. But yeah.
That's amazing.
So that feels good too.
To the text.
Yeah, to the writing process. And also it aligns nicely with what you're saying, because the semester being over is a friggin' gosh send as well, a goddess send, if you will, as well. So thankful for the semester being over, thankful for the book being submitted. Now we can just sort of relax into the break.
Wait. Oh, so excited.
Yay. All right. Oh, with that all said, let's head into our awards ceremony.
Yes,
so
please.
If people are new to us, you do not know yet that we have a standardized 8 awards that we give out when we are talking about all of the reality TV that we've watched in the past week or month. In this case, it's like month because it's been that long since we've done it. But I will say most of mine are from the past couple of weeks because we've just had such a huge influx of reality TV lately. So we'll tell you our specific shows that we're covering as well in a second. But first off, just to know that all 8 awards have in them somewhere in their title test, the word test, because this is reality test after all. So you'll notice some kind of funny language for the names of the awards, just so that we could fit in test essentially. But the shows that I'm covering today include the new Vanderpump Rules. I have like a little moment about Southern Charm because I wrote most of these before I caught up on that. But there's plenty to be said about that, let me say. I also am talking about the Squid Games, The Challenge, which is a reality show based on Squid Games. Yep, little sidestep there. I also am talking about the new Housewives of Beverly Hills. And I think that's it. Yes.
I am covering most of the same shows. I think Southern Charm, Vanderpump Rules, Real Housewives, Beverly Hills, and Little Salt Lake City. Yeah, that's the.
Oh my gosh!
I think that's
yes,
the difference. The Salt Lake
that.
girlies.
Yeah, I love that. I don't think I did any Salt Lake, and so I'm so glad that you did because there was a lot going on there as well.
It was indeed.
All right, fabulous. So for our first award, it's called Protest This Mess, and this is our meanest, saddest, drunkest, or most obnoxious, etc. moment. What did you say you were protesting this time?
So Meredith Brooks in the most recent episode of Salt Lake City. Sorry, my
Meredith Marks. Meredith
Marks. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Why do I call her? Oh, because her son's name's
Brooks. Yeah.
Yeah, practically Meredith Brooks.
Exactly.
And Brooks comes into this, but she essentially, after, there was more drama, they're all very excited about this plane incident, which, by the way, sounds like it was awful. And I think it's that Meredith won't own it. And then there's then been drama between Heather and Meredith because Heather's kind of took up for Brittany. About, what happened on the plane, because it sounds like she was harassed, which sucks. But essentially Meredith walked away from this wine tasting they were doing, I think kind of to elicit maybe sympathy. She also got a call from her son and was very upset that it was the only time she would get to talk to her son, but it was clear that she was more upset that the women were not pleased with her. And so she walked away from the wine tasting, and then she ended up walking back and sitting down and just pouting, just having that sort of energy of I want people to ask me what's going on. And then this Greek man was very nice to her, and she was like, I'm just upset that, it's the only time I get to talk to my son. It's that's not what you're upset about. You're upset that you're being accused of being addicted to drugs. You're upset about drugs. Upset about what happened on the plane, and you're upset that Heather's not on your side. So it was a little crocodile tears, and it was just a whole funny thing with her walking away and coming back. So kind of messy, obnoxious. Yeah.
Definitely a thing I would protest as well. Yes. Exactly. Yes. Messy protesting of that messiness. Oh, love that. Okay, yes. Fabulous. Mine is from the new Vanderpump Rules, and it's that dude, Marcus, because he was a drunk mess at work. And also, not only was he a drunk mess at work, he was teaching the new employee how not to work, specifically teaching him not to work at all and to take as many shots as possible. So he is pretty much most literally the most drunk and obnoxious. But it is more than that because he's really cocky. And he's convinced he can't be fired. He was like, what are they going to do? Fire me? Yeah, right. And then very much he was suspended when Lisa found out about his alcohol use. So it's sort of yeah, you can be actually. But yeah, so I think that the messiness is both the drinking, that's quite literally the drunkest part, teaching other people to do that, which is inappropriate. And then on top of that, being cocky.
All those things together are quite the messy, protesty situation.
Literally.
Indeed. Yeah, he's kind of a tough hang. I haven't endeared to really any of the cast yet. I'm kind of waiting to. Maybe the one person who just turned 22. She seems kind of fun. And
I love her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love her. And I know her name is Audrey. Her name's Audrey.
That's right. And Venus is all right too.
I was gonna say Venus is whom I've gotten to like. I really like Audrey and I really like Venus. But yeah, Audrey. I also like the new girl Angelica. She seems great. She seems like a girl's girl. Yeah.
I liked how she fell. I was just like,
Yeah,
oh,
so
love it.
endearing. I love that.
Yeah.
And it's also one of those things. I can't remember if I talked about it on this podcast or not, but that one of the things that they show is that in the like attraction literature that we're more attracted to people who make mistakes. Like if you make one mistake and you can own it, or like if you fall. So the example they gave for that is like Jennifer Lawrence tripping at the Oscars or something. That made people like her even more. And so that's sort of what happened with Angelica. It made her more endearing that she fell.
Yay. I look forward to seeing how she enters the show. Because right now, I think it's hard to reach the heights of old school Vanderpump Rules, and probably they never will. So probably I need to change my expectations a little bit.
Yeah, I think it'll be different. I think did you see Peter? Peter was in a half second of the last episode. And I was like,
God.
oh. Yeah.
I think I missed him because I only watched the first half of that episode, actually.
Okay,
so
yeah.
I must have missed
it was also like
moment.
half second. Like I think Natalie maybe was doing something and he was helping somebody, but he said something, but he was basically not in it. Like they didn't even give him a bottom third, which I thought was interesting. Yeah, I was like, they're definitely like pushing him out. He is no longer a factor, which makes sense. He was so creepy. I was like out on him the moment he went for a meal with Raquel.
To your point, I know I did this, but yeah, he probably like has done some fucked up shit, and probably women are a little icked out about him.
Yeah, no, and I'm pretty sure he's on the spectrum, to be honest. So that, but in that part, it is empatheticable. It's empathizable. But yeah, no, I do. I find him creepy.
Who is doing the mostest? Like, what was the most cringe, embarrassing thing that you saw this week?
So I also gave this to Vanderpump Rules to Kim, who's Marcus's girlfriend, because what the fuck is going on? Her behavior in particular, I was shocked. Like in the first couple episodes of Vanderpump, I was shocked by how everyone seemed like her behavior was normal. Like it was like what she was doing was somehow seen as normal by people around her, where I was just sort of like, what? Like her fighting with Marcus, but then like what she was saying about Natalie, and then the fact she like cried to Natalie, but then she was mad at Natalie for being one way one day and one way another day, and I was like, but you just did that to her. And then also I would say that what the two of them did, where when Venus wrote back to the text, sort of like, well, then forget your clown ass relationship, that then they went to work and told everyone everything Venus had said about them was so fucked up. Like, I couldn't believe they did that. But then also their like nonchalance about doing it was so fucked up. So I found that just incredibly cringe and gross and embarrassing. And then they're also, the other behaviors of hers that I found really cringe was how she was towards Marcus in terms of like calling him 100 times. And then she even brings up the fact she called him 100 times, like nonchalantly. She's like answer the phone when I've called you 100 times, like as if like that's totally okay. And I was like, ooh, I really find that a lot. I don't think that's exactly how that should be going. And then he also talks about their fights with someone at the gym. And then that, so like him doing that also just makes him sound so not compatible at all. Like I just think the two of them just sound really not a good fit, and I find it very cringe. And I find it cringe that people are not like, what's going on? So then when Venus was like, what's going on? I was like, thank you. I'm glad people are sort of seeing this because it is wild.
Yeah, I think their dynamic is really not healthy, and it's kind of made to be a joke. At least by them, but I don't think it's funny at all.
Not at all. Very disturbing and probably triggering for plenty of people.
Yes. So I hope they can get out of that. And maybe they're trying to like pull a Jackson Stassi. But we actually know more about, abusive and toxic relationships than we did maybe in 2014 or whenever that came out. So let's do better and not do the same weird shit that we did
Great point.
10 years ago.
Yes. Great point. There's also something different about Stassi than Kim. Like there's something about how Stassi still took the angle essentially of just sort of being like, I'm too good for this shit. Whereas like Kim is coming across like both like seeking empathy, but then like, it's like this interesting sort of like different angle on it that is not good.
I think you're right. Yeah.
But you're
I
right, too,
feel,
about how it's so different than it was.
yeah, I feel for her too, because I think Marcus is kind of like not nice. And like she is in the dynamic doing her own thing. And I hope that they can just take a lot of space from each other. Because I also don't find it like Stassi and Jax, I know this is another maybe effed up point, but their fights were entertaining and like, I don't know. It's in like a way. I can't even remember specifics, but man, would Stassi go in on him. And that's like sort of, it felt like, even though like women are often in a power down position, it felt like Stassi subverted that somehow with Jax, which made it more fun to watch. I don't feel that here, and I'm not enjoying watching them fight in the same. Not that I was like, this is awesome, but it was certainly entertaining. And I don't feel that this is entertaining.
Yeah. You're so right. It is the subversion of roles. It is that Stassi was the one that was more masculinized in that, like traditionally masculinized in that dynamic that was so great. It is different. Yeah. Oh, great point. What was yours?
Okay, so this is kind of specific, but I've been watching some of the Watch What Happens lives because they're kind of embedded right after the episode on Peacock, which is really fun and makes it a lot easier. So I was really like cringe and embarrassed, and I think Andy was too, by Dorit playing the like who's good enough for Dorit game. Did you see this?
I heard about it.
She got really embarrassed, and he did too, to the point where he stopped the game. And it wasn't like so overt. You could just tell that she was uncomfortable. And I don't know what that says about her or the show. I'm not sure what it means, but it just made me feel weird. Like I was like, ugh, this either she's not ready, or for her, what she said is like, I really need to get to know the person, and that's probably true.
Right. So, and then she didn't know. So then she didn't know who someone else was, but she knew who Craig was, right?
Yeah. She said, that's a nice young man in her Dorit way.
Oh, you just broke up. Oh, wait, say that again.
Oh,
you just broke up.
She said, that's a nice young man or something. He was very nice at BravoCon. Actually, I could see them working together in a weird way.
I could too. Yeah, I really could too.
I wouldn't hate that for either of them.
Honestly, me either. It would be an upgrade for him, like we said he likes, and then for her, it would be an upgrade for her too. Really, from PK for sure.
Fucking Sutton's mom calling him ugly. I don't like to look shame people. I don't mean to go low, but maybe he's earned it. I don't know. Like, dude.
Yeah.
Anyway,
or when Cassie said, I thought he was that age when I first met him. She's like, I thought he was that old when I first met him. And everyone was like, whoa.
If he wasn't such a dick, I would say this is not okay. But, you know, I'm not Michelle Obama. When they go low, I go low.
Exactly. Sometimes you just got to. You just got to go low too.
With a certain kind of man, I definitely will.
Yeah. Good.
Anyway.
They call for it.
Yes.
So the next award is called Testing 123, which is our best production ad, or it could be best or worst producer antic.
So Sutton's mother talking about PK. So I just said that, but to bring it back, it was funny. I'm glad they kept it in. They had a choice of whether or not to keep it in. And it showed a different side of her, like a more playful, kind of cheeky side. And maybe that's the mode that she can be in. Because I mean, she's a psychologist. She's got to be an intellectual. So I bet in that sort of like wry, sort of like tongue-in-cheek mode, she's probably pretty fun to be around. So beyond being mean to PK, I liked seeing that side of her. And because PK has been pretty egregious, I laughed. I enjoyed that ad.
Yes, I agree too. That's great. That's a great one. Yeah, that's so true. I mean, I like it. I like a little Reba action, but especially when she's like being sassy lady. That's kind of fun. When not at somebody's expense on the show that we're seeing, not immediate person's expense. Yeah.
Not at her like daughter's expense. Yeah.
Exactly. Where it's just sort of painful at that point.
Yeah.
So mine was from Southern Charm. I had two quick things. One is from Vanderpump Rules. I just liked that they put "it's time for a shift change" in the opening of the. I just liked that was like something they wrote in the opening for Vanderpump Rules. I was like, it is like a shift change. That's funny. I liked it.
Yes.
Thought that was a cute little moment. And then I liked in Southern Charm how they're handling the whole situation between Sally and Charlie with Craig. Like I thought that they did a really good job of like building up the Sally and Craig of it all, and then entering in Charlie, and then showing how unfair it was that how Sally was treating Charlie about it, and then when it was obviously like very clear that Craig likes Charlie more, and so I thought they just handled it really well because something about the way that they timed it and like showed us what they showed us when they showed it to us. I thought that worked out really well.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's fun. I mean, those sorts of love triangles are just always going to work, right, on reality TV. And so I'm glad we're getting back to that with those boys. I've seen like memes that are like, this is the boys' show. And it kind of is in ways that I don't love. And I hope we can change that because I think we have, like, Molly to me is everything. I love her. I love her weird reptiles. And Rodrigo's fun
Me too. I love
and
Rodrigo.
I love Vanita getting more empowerment. So hopefully we can see other sides of her. That might come up later. But I hope that shifts. And do I like watching Shep, Austin, and Craig be like petty together? I kind of do.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
No, it's not fun. And also I love Whitner.
Oh yeah,
the new guy.
Sweet.
So
He
cute
seems
and sweet.
lovely.
Yeah. And anxious. I love that he talks about being anxious, and I like that he's a liberal guy. He's a very liberal mom. I really like him a lot.
He's neurotic. Like gets up at 4:45 a.m. every morning. I'm like, oh damn.
That is a routine, my guy. That is a routine. My goodness.
I also liked him slipping in that he passed the bar the first time, like a shade of Craig.
So good. I loved it. He was 2 years above me. He's like, but I passed the bar first. I was like, get it, Winter. Yes.
Can I also give a PSA for the psychologists? It's actually harder to pass the EPPP than it is the bar. Like statistically, more people don't pass the EPPP the first time. But because we are in a woman-dominated profession, you don't hear about it so much. But you have to study for at least 3 months for the EPPP, just like the bar. Lower pass rates. You don't hear about it. Everybody knows about the bar. No one knows about the EPPP. That's all. That's all I have to say. So anyone who thinks that psychologists are just this soft science that's like blah, 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 biologists don't have to take a test like that. Just saying.
Boom.
That's all. Boom. That's all I got on that. I'm fiery today.
I love it.
Mysterious reasons why.
It's going to be what we just talked about. No way. Yeah.
No.
Oh, I love it. No, that's so good. Thank you for telling me that because I didn't know that. I do remember being really excited that I passed the EPPs the first time. I'll add in, but it was really close. Frankly, it was close, and I was like, oh fuck! Like, thank God I passed it because you have to spend a whole bunch of money. You have to wait a certain amount of time and then spend a whole bunch of money to take it again if you don't pass the first time. So it's a whole process. So I love hearing that. That makes me feel even better about it, but also makes me feel good for all the people that didn't pass it the first time because there's so many, I know. Yeah.
I felt so relieved I passed. You remember when I was studying, I was like, am I going to pass? Because I can, believe it or not, get real anxious. And then it was over and I was relieved.
Yeah. No, you nailed it. That was exciting. I remember that. Oh, EPPs, man.
EPPs. But good for Whitner, too, for passing the bar, even though it's an easier test.
Yeah, right? Especially against Craig not passing it.
The shade. We love the shade today for some reason.
Exactly. I can't imagine.
Oh. Well, what about test results? So holding castmates accountable, reading their results, who showed the most or least growth for you?
Okay, so I'm giving test results to my man, Marcus the Good. So this is not Marcus from Vanderpump Rules, but from the show, the Squid Games Challenge. So in the Squid Game Challenge, there's this guy who's a little bit bigger in stature, and he's historically clearly been very bullied. He tells us that as well. He's like a little nerd alert in a very cute way. Like he likes Star Wars. I think he's doing a Star Wars themed wedding that he's trying to make the money for and stuff, which is so cute. But But it was so clear in the way that he was in the show that he's done some really, really good work on his self-image and his confidence. And so he talks about like having grown through some real tough shit. But what I love so much is that he had these self-affirmations that were like beyond. Like I just love them so much. So one of them he said, "You're kind, you're brave, you're smart. You're kind, you're brave, you're smart." I just love that so much. I made me so happy. And then he had another one that was, "I am loved, I am valued, I am strong. I am loved, I am valued, I am strong." And I just was like so obsessed with it. And then the last one that I really liked was, "Be proud of yourself. Be proud of yourself. Be proud of yourself." So I loved it. I thought that was so great to see him out there and about there talking about what it's like to be bullied, and then also to show what it's like to have affirmations that are working for him. He didn't like, there was a moment that we all thought he was going to like win in this moment, and he didn't win, and it was very upsetting, but still he was easy to root for. So I did find an interview that he had done, and he said after the fact, he said, "I mean, I went through a lot of therapy as a kid to become the adult we see here today because I was bullied a lot in elementary and middle school. In that room, talking about a specific incident that happened, looked so much like the gym from my elementary school that I was like really, truly honored that my team brought me back in after what Ryan said." So Ryan was this guy who like brought up that Marcus was going to be picked on. He's like, everyone's going to look at you and think a certain way. He's like, it's just true. It's just true. People are going to look at you and think that you're weak. Like, It was awful. It was like awful to watch, like such clear bullying. And what was awesome was after this guy did this, the rest of Marcus's team was like, "Yo, fuck this guy." They were like, "Marcus, you're fine. Fuck this guy. He's bullying you. Forget it." And so it was so cool because then for Marcus, he was like, I can't explain how insane it was. Someone being like, "Hey, you look weak." And then everyone else was like, "No, you're a bad person," to Ryan. He was like, that was really intense to watch the whole group come to my side while I'm spiraling in a way that I never thought I would spiral. I mean, it was just so cool. It was like a corrective experience. So in addition to the fact that I thought that Marcus himself had like improved from his childhood, clearly that was like a test results positive growth thing, it also was like a positive growth thing that we got to watch him have a corrective experience on the show where he was told he mattered, even though this person was being awful to him. So that's fine.
I'm glad that he had a corrective experience, and it's great to have representation on reality TV of folks who have had rough times and how they've learned to manage that. So go Marcus.
Yeah, he was great representation, and also his affirmations were really great representation. Like I don't think we see enough of that, of people having like affirmations that they share to be clear that they're having them in life, that they use them.
Yeah. Yes.
I guess.
And maybe I should do some affirmations. I know people do that sometimes, and it helps them.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Are you an affirmation person, an affirmer?
No, I'm not. I'm not one. I guess I don't have affirmations myself that I use, but I will say it aligns with my feelings about manifestation. That like if you can just like will it, it will be. And I think that affirmations are that thing. Like if you're putting yourself in that mindset, then that is more bound to happen. So I do agree with them. I just don't personally have them per se.
Gotcha. Fair enough.
Yeah. But how about you? What were your test results, as in the most or least grown or growth?
I already spoke about this, so I won't go into too much detail, but Kyle Richards opening up about her sexual orientation and also why she did not share a lot about her relationship was really helpful. And I think she's shown growth from last season to this season in being more open about these parts of her life and her experience. And I'm really glad for that. So keep it up, Kyle.
Yeah, I love that. That's so true. Okay, so this next one is my pride and truth and pride, and pride and glory is the one. Next one is my pride and glory. It's called testosterone. And in the testosterone award, we give it to the person who is the most patriarchal or white supremacist or misogynist and or heterosexist. So, to whom did you give your testosterone award?
I'm so sorry. I forgot a show I included, which was Below Deck, Australia, or Down Under.
Oh, I love that one.
The thing is freezing up again. I talked about this a little, either with you off mic or in our last episode. But I'm going to talk about some of the chief stew and the bosun on this show. So this bosun was, spoiler alert, I'll give you a few seconds if you haven't seen it, fired for just not kind of doing a good job, not communicating well. But he was really sexist. He made out with like a bunch of people on the show. And the chief stew, who is probably a woman in her 30s, he was like, this is what happens as women age. It was something like that. Like they just get bitter, blah, 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 and they miss being hot. It was something of that ilk. And I just hated it. And I didn't like him anyway, but I really didn't like that. On a different note with the chief stew, who he was talking about, she had her own weird things going on with her stews. She seemed to have this, she's a blonde woman, I think model, and she really favored the blonde stews and blonde like cast members to the point when they were out one time, she was like, it was like, oh, the blonde goddesses or some line like that. She was even like kind of grooming Serena, who was the, what's it called? The sous chef. She was like grooming her to be in service. And Serena had said that on past boats, she's done things like this. Serena had brown hair. And she was kind of like, Laura was always kind of mean girly to her. Even worse than like that sort of treatment. Like Serena's kind of a weirder person. I think I talked about that last week too. And Laura was kind of like cool girl vibes or whatever. But then there was a Hispanic stew who, Marina, who she like made do housekeeping for weeks and weeks and weeks, despite Marina saying that she wanted to get more experience with service. Yeah. And she literally just, she said, oh, we'll get you in service and get you more experience with that. But then decided, oh, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And kept Marina on housekeeping and Brianna on service. And she's like, well, Brianna's good at service and Marina's good at housekeeping. Jason, the captain, actually stepped in because he saw how hard Marina was working and was like, you need to give her more experience. And it took 2 charters of him saying this for her to finally do it. And Brianna then had to do housekeeping for a few days and realized how hard that job was and how much Marina was like doing in other departments to kind of keep things going. And I think Laura started to see it and then promoted Marina to chief, or not chief stew, but first stew. That's right, because she's chief stew. So she kind of self-corrected over the season, but her own, it was like a weird blonde thing that was like real uncomfy and kind of a lack of self-awareness there. And they don't have a reunion, so there was no space for them to process all that, which I was like, oh, this is so rich and strange. But lots of testosterone on that season, and good for Jason for like sticking up for Marina. Like that was good.
I really like Jason. I mean, I know everyone really likes Jason, so that's not a hot take in any way whatsoever. But I really like that he's, but I really like that he those kind of moments like really bring hope to my heart about certain people who, especially who are also like good looking and have every reason not to learn about like what's just and right in the world. There's every reason for him to not have to worry about that or about social justice, and he still does, and I love that.
Yeah, I think he has his moments where maybe he misses things because of how he does. I think he's very much how I do it is how maybe it should be done. A little, not like in a big way, but I think he sees himself as a man of character and thinks that if other people do what he did, blah, blah, blah. But I think he saw the injustice that was happening and spoke to it. And I think that's great. And my goodness, I am not immune to his charms. I'm Team Jason too.
Good looking dude. Good looking guy. Yeah. Fucking guy. Okay. So for my testosterone, I did some major racism that was going on in the Squid Games reality show. I think his name was Steven. This guy sucks. He's like a real bad dickbag, I will say. But there was a woman named Perla who's black and a white girl with whom she was working, a white woman named Zoe. And they were on a team together in this one game that was like a board game. It was Shoots and Ladders. And so Perla was vocally disliking of Steven's shady behavior, and he was like immediately a fucking gigantic dick. And so like she ends up voicing like this guy's a dick, and everyone says to her, calm down. I don't like that. That was very racist to me. I was like, she doesn't have to calm down. This guy sucks. And she's being honest about it. And it really was just because I felt like she's a woman of color that she had to be told to like relax or calm down, whatever it is. I was like, where's the justice here? I don't like it. He kept being like, I don't even feel bad. Like she was crying. So he did something to her after she was vocally disliking something he did. They got back at him. So then he got back at her and she ends up crying and he kept saying, I don't even feel bad. I don't even feel bad. It was awful. And then meanwhile, this other woman who's like Australian or British maybe ends up walking by, like, so Perla does something to someone else and they end up having to come back to the beginning of the board game. And this woman walks by Perla. Perla was like, I'm sorry. And she walks by Perla and she goes, say that to my son. And then Perla starts crying because she was like, what the fuck? That was awful. And I would also never say that to someone, like bringing in someone's kid or whatever. And so it was just like, again, like no one feeling badly for Perla's sake. It was just so weird. And so then after the fact, though, there was like this little huddle of folks who are of color and they were talking about it. And I was like, thank God they have each other, because if they didn't have each other to talk about it, I can't even imagine. And so they were all agreeing to each other. Like I would never, like this guy in the subgroup was sort of like, listen, I have like 2 siblings and what dip it about bop. And he's like, and I would never bring them up. Like that's just so not the way to play this game or whatever. And it just shows the quality of humans that are of people of color. Like people who have been marginalized, who have experienced things like this, are just such a like better quality person, like frankly, than people who were just out there just fucking making these awful decisions. And then also it turns out quite racist decisions like Stephen did. And then everyone telling Perla to stop and calm down. I just was so upset about it. I didn't like it. I didn't like watching it. Didn't like the racism. It was very upsetting.
I'm glad that the people of color on the show kind of came together. And yeah, when you see it, you have more empathy for what is happening when you understand it because maybe you've been through it. Totally.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Okay. Oh, no, now you tell me what I'm doing. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. The Bechdel test. So this is the most feminist, anti-racist, gay, etc. moment. So what was your Bechdel test moment to kind of cleanse us from all the testosterone that we saw in reality TV?
Time to cleanse, do a cleanse. I love it. So I'm going to give mine to Erica Jane, who gave me a feminist corrective emotional experience. So first off, this was hilarious and also something I can totally relate to. What happened was that when she met Rachel Zoe, she said to her, so she's walking up to Rachel Zoe for the first time and she says, hi, I'm Rachel. And then she goes, oh, I'm not Rachel. She's like, you're Rachel. I'm Erica. And it was just and it was like so relatable. I have totally done the same thing.
So cute.
It was so good. And I've actually, so like the version of it that I did once was on the phone and it was with this like deeply traumatized client. And I was working with her very short time. And I picked up the phone. Let's say her name is Kathy. I answered the phone and I go, hi, Kathy, this is Kathy. What? Like, say what now? I was like, oh no. I was like, oh no, sorry. And because she was like deeply traumatized and deeply anxious, she didn't laugh at all. She had none of it. She just sort of was like kept it moving. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, that's awkward as fuck. And still to this day, I am like deeply embarrassed by that. So then to watch how Erica did it, I just was like, okay, I can let go of that. Like this happens. This is what's happening. It totally happens. And then I also noticed during the show with Erica Jane that like right after it happened, everyone else went on to like this next part of the party, but Erica Jane stood back and like was doing something funny in front of the camera. And I could feel her sort of like vibe checking the cameraman. Like I think she was sort of like seeing, like she was sort of seeing like, was that weird? Are we we okay? Like, what's going on here? Like, just sort of like being funny to sort of like in response to it. So I just was like, this is so relatable, I'm sure,
Amazing.
to so many people, and so funny. And like, I don't know, it was just really great. And so I also wanted to share, scientifically speaking, that what's happening is our predictive brain is already thinking what they're going to say, and that they're going to say their name. And so our brain thinks their name because they're going to say it. And so then we accidentally say it when we get distracted. So that happens if we're stressed out or we're distracted. Like with me, it was that my client was like deeply traumatized. So I was stressed out and concerned and worried about being an idiot, and then totally put my foot in my mouth. So like then, because that extra stress was there, it just like slipped out of my mouth. And so same thing with Erica. I think she was like under the stress of like having to introduce herself to someone new on TV. And so it's just like basically your brain is grabbing the most recent name it's heard. And because your predictive brain is saying their name, it comes out of your mouth.
Absolutely. 150 bajillion%. I think I did something just like yesterday where I almost told someone, you know, in like a routine, might have been something medical, like, I love you.
I love that so much.
And you know me, I don't give that away like candy. Maybe that's my subconscious trend.
Yeah,
but it's like when you're saying goodbye, and then I can't remember who it was, but I almost said, I love you. I was like, oh my God. And I was so grateful it didn't happen. But it definitely has happened where I've done some shit like that. It's just so easy. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so funny. I love that.
I'm Kate. Nice to meet you, Rachel, or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
So funny.
Yeah. No, or I love you. I've definitely done the I love you thing too. It's just so relatable, and it's so funny because it's not like shown enough, you know. Like I don't think people think about how relatable that is really. So I was glad that they showed that. That felt like a good feminist moment of like, this happens to us, and it's awkward, and we might feel awkward afterwards and try to figure out how to fix it with the cameraman or whatever. Like, you know. You try to
even a bad bitch like Erica Jane, who just so keeps it moving, like even she is not immune to the follies of being a human being.
Exactly. And she can play it off too, and also still feel uncomfortable. So that was great. Yeah, I loved it. What was your Bechdel test?
Okay, this is a little cheating because it's outside of the technical shows, but it was Sierra doing an Instagram post about how horribly Vanita is treated on Southern Charm and how no one backs her.
Yes.
And like it got news and it got play. Like Vanita is treated like shit on that show, and she has no allies. If her best ally is Sally, who is
atrocious.
Is not, I don't think is ill intent. She's under the patriarchy like everyone else, but is not like Vanita's girl, you know? Just not, it's not what's happening there. And I think Sierra like backing her. And then I saw another Instagram, which was like Sierra and Vanita together, like on set or maybe not on set, like at a dinner. And I was like, yes, this is what needs to happen. Like Vanita needs like an uplifting because she has not been done well by that show at all.
No. And Sierra can use the support too. I think they both having each other is a big deal. And they both need more people of color on their shows, their respective shows.
So fucking lootly. Their shows are like play lands for white men to behave poorly. So Let's do better.
Yes, exactly. So in this next one, they were the worst test of friends. They were the best test of friends. Do you have a friendship you would want to either rise up or that is a bad friendship example?
Angie and Mary, their friendship is really sweet. And the moment that I really liked was this most recent episode. Mary was like, she'd gone out on the donkeys during the day. She didn't like it. I think she's really pushing herself this season to like do more things. But she didn't want to go out at night. She was like, I'm tired. I'm going to go to bed. And Angie was like, all right, night, night. Like so sweet. It was just like no like weird friction. Like it was just understanding and support. And I loved it. And I loved when Angie was sick on the boat.
That Mary stayed with her.
Yeah, it was so, I think she was like happy to do it. And I think she like was backing her friend. So I don't know. I think their friendship's sweet. So I appreciate it. Even through Fartgate. And like disappointment about farting is funny to me too.
Yeah, that was quite funny. But yeah, exactly. Even through that, I agree. They lasted. And I think also, by the way, on BravoCon, they won the award. They won a Bravo. I guess they're called Bravos or something, but they won a Bravo for the best friendship. So
cute. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, they're so cute. They deserve it. So, mine is going to go to Sutton and Garcelle as the worst test of friends. And I know that Garcelle is not on the show anymore, but the way that people were like surprised they're not friends anymore, I was like, are you shitting me right now? It is so fucking obvious what happened there. Like, to me, it's like so clear. Garcelle is never ever going to want to be friends with Sutton ever again and never want to call her. And the fact that Sutton's all like upset and like, I didn't just see her as an ally. I thought she was my friend. And and then she said something else like where she was like, I just don't like seeing people talk about her like that. It's like, what are you talking about? You were talking about her like that. Like, you were letting people ask you what's going on with Garcelle as if you know Garcelle well, when you clearly were part of the problem. So I will say that I was feeling that way very strongly. And then suddenly Bose stepped in and said just exactly what I needed her to say. And she goes, I think she was upset with me for not having her back. I don't know why. That part I didn't like. I was like, you don't know why she was upset with you for not having her back? I think it's pretty clear when she said that apparently skin kind isn't kin kind or whatever. Like, so it's like, I think she was pretty clear why she thought you should have her back. But that part aside, she then goes on and says, I then think she felt you left her out to dry. I was like, fucking finally, somebody almost gets the damn message. And of course it's Bose. Like, of course she's the one who gets it. It's not even like a little bit surprising that of course she's the one who would get it, but it's so upsetting that it's like, I don't know. Yeah, it's upsetting to me that there's any question about it. It's upsetting to me that it's not more obvious to Sutton what was going on. So after Bose says that, by the way, Bose says all this thing. It's like good wisdom. Sutton then goes, well, we'll just never know because she's not speaking to me. So we can play the guessing game for eternity. I had to take a couple months to be quiet and remember who I am. And I just was like, what? Like, first of all, we will know. Fucking Bose is telling you, and you don't like to hear it. And so saying like, we'll play the guessing game forever. We don't have to play the guessing game forever. We could ask ourselves, A. B, I think we all know what the fuck happened there, except you apparently. And C, Bose is telling you what happened and you're just ignoring it. So that is bizarre.
I think anyone who wants to know what happened should listen to the podcast where you broke down very clearly what happened. Everyone should go back to that. It will make it very clear. You broke it down within an inch of its life.
I did.
But I at the time was like, oh yeah, duh, that is exactly what happened because I didn't understand. And then I very clearly understood because you were clearly 100% right. So everyone should listen to that episode. Maybe we'll repost it or something.
Yeah. Right. That's not a bad idea. And I think it was the one that was called why is Garcelle upset or why did Garcelle leave? It was we named it after that because that was a focus of it. Yeah. Ridiculous. I did give a momentary honorary pitch, which was actually I was surprised by Vanita in this one moment, but she's Team Austin, quote unquote, and Craig and Austin are going at it at the literary dinner. And then after it seemingly has calmed a touch, Craig is over talking to Sally and he starts yelling again. But then Vanita turns to Shep and says, Shep, what do you have on Austin? And I was just sort of whoa, I don't know if we, it was during the part when they were when Craig was sort of saying oh, Shep knows, Shep has all this stuff, Shep knows what's going on with Austin. And she's but she's Team Austin. Vanita is Team Austin. And then she turns to Shep and says, what do you have on Austin? And I was sort of ooh, I don't know if I would have done that. So that was just sort of a little bit of crispy edges of her friendship with Austin. But that said, I love Vanita. There's really nothing she can do wrong. Whatever.
If she felt empowered and emboldened to do her best and be her best self, I think she would move differently, but maybe she's just not moving well because of the bullshit
environment. Yeah.
I agree. That wasn't a great look. That shit didn't need more stirring.
It did not need stirring. It had been fully stirred and shaken.
Yes, exactly.
Totally. Oh, okay. The last one.
Is this me? Do I name? Yes, I think. Yeah. So tell me about your testimonial. So what was the best confessional that you saw? So this was this moment where
I think it was interesting that production kept this in, but we see the manager who's French at SUR. This is at the Vanderpump Rules. The French manager who's a woman. It's like the couple of them, or they're a couple or whatever. But we rarely see them. But they kept in this scene where the French manager was crying to Lisa, saying, I don't understand why these kids are doing this. It's so messed up. And then she says something where she goes, we've already been struggling so badly, and then they're doing this. And so I was sort of like, oh, interesting, piqued my interest about we've been struggling so badly. But then it was interesting because then it cut to this testimonial of Lisa rebranding it as related to COVID. And so she sort of says well, it's because of COVID. We could have closed. And as you know, we could have, we closed Pump, and I'm not going to close another restaurant. It's just not happening. And so I sort of was interested that the way that she sort of rebranded how everything was going on, where I sort of felt like it was probably more than just COVID. I feel like she was sort of letting in a little bit more than that. And then Lisa was like, no, it's just this. And so I give it to Lisa because that was her good old self-protection testimonial. Back in action.
Good at that. She's a smart lady, that's for sure.
Truly.
Yes. Mine is Charlie. I think on the most recent episode, admitting that she liked Craig after saying that she didn't flirt with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was an interest. It's because she would kind of denied it because she was to Sally. She was like, I didn't flirt with him. And then she kind of later admitted that she liked him. So it's more complicated than I think she initially let on, which was good info. About their friendship and maybe, I don't know, about her self-awareness. I like Charlie. I think she's lovely.
Me too.
And maybe she was flirting if she kind of likes him. If we're being honest with ourselves.
She definitely was. Yeah, she definitely was. But I see her part where I think it's more that she was surprised Sally cared about what was going on. I think she thought she was flirting, but she thought she was allowed to flirt. The two of them, she even said to us at the beginning of that party, we're both flirts. We both like flirting with people. So I think to her, she was sort of why are you so upset that I was flirting? So then her way of dealing with that was to be I wasn't doing that, but she was, but yeah, caught her off guard.
Totally. But yeah, good piece of info. I'm excited to see how this love triangle continues to evolve.
Me too. Very interesting. I agree. So you can come check us out on patreon.com/realitytest or go to patreon.com and search at symbol reality test in the search bar. You can also find us on Instagram at realitytestpodcast or at Dr. Ray Pods and at Dr. K Pods for our personal Instagrams. We're on TikTok at realitytestpod, which is the same exact handle that you'll find for both YouTube and Facebook at realitytestpod. And we're on Gmail at no ats. We're also on Gmail, realitycheckpodding@gmail.com.
Yes. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe, and to tell all your friends. We so love doing this podcast, and we want to keep it going into 2026. Any support you can give us, even $5 measly a month, as Dr. K likes to say, would make a huge difference.
Please. That would be great. You'll get our behind the scenes videos, and also you'll be able to get our audio episodes a night before when they usually come out. If you're just a free member, you don't even need the $5 measly, and you'll get the episodes the night before. For $5 measly, you'll get our video episodes. So also, hi friends that were here because your friends told you to come here, and tell your other friends, and hopefully you all can join us. And next week we're going to do, potentially it's Christmas, so there might be nothing, or there might be a surprise Survivor episode. And then the episode that's going to be between Christmas and New Year's is going to be our annual awards. So our next episode with Dr. Ray and I is going to be our annual awards, which is very exciting. So we will see you all soon. And in fact, we will see you next session. Bye.